आपकी शादी हुई है?
नहीं नहीं।
हाँ, ठीक है, फिर आपको शायद अभी नहीं, बट लेटर ऑन फॉर श्योर। ये है 7 principles ऑफ फॉर मेकिंग मैरिज वर्क. And exactly this is the kind of reaction I get from people. Like when I showed it to my parents itself, they started laughing at me.
मेरे को पता है, मेरे को बहुत जल्दी रहना होगा। एक क्विक मैच खेल सकते हो?
हाँ चलेगा, श्योर.
डन।
और नाम मेरा देखोगे तो इट इज सागर अंडरस्कोर राइना. दिस वाज वन ऑफ द
ओ
challenges Samay had given, that if
हाँ।
this happens you have to change your name to this, and it was quite embarrassing, but it still remained that only. I have not changed.
हाय गाइस, सो आज का गेस्ट एपिसोड है सागर शाह के साथ. सागर इज द को-फाउंडर ऑफ ChessBase इंडिया एंड वो खुद एक बहुत शानदार चेस प्लेयर है. सागर ने मेरे को बहुत सारी शानदार रिकमेंडेशंस दी एंड पर्टिकुलरली इन रिगार्ड टू बुक्स. उन्होंने इतनी सारी बुक रिकमेंड की एंड उनमें से मोस्ट ऑफ द बुक्स का चेस से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. सो आपको मजा आ जाएगा एपिसोड देख के. और अगर आप ये वीडियो एंड तक देखोगे तो आपको पता चलेगा मैंने और सागर ने एक चेस का मैच भी खेला था एंड जो आपको लग रहा है ना मैच जीता है, वो मैच नहीं जीता था. So watch it till the end and you guys are in for a treat. So अपनी कॉफी वॉफी लेके आओ and let's start watching our episode with Sagar Shah on Chalchitra Talks.
हाय सागर, वेलकम टू चलचित्र टॉक्स. कैसे हैं आप?
हेलो वैभव, मैं ठीक हूँ. वेरी हैप्पी टू बी हियर.
तो मेरे को यार एक दो पहले तो आप मेरे डाउट्स क्लियर करो. मैं समय के साथ जब एपिसोड कर रहा था ना, तो मेरा एक दो जगह ना काफी ऐसे मजाक उड़ गया था. पता नहीं समय का स्टाइल ही हुआ है. और लोग मेरे को कमेंट कर रहे थे वैभव इस स्ट्रीम के सागर शाह हैं. तो इसका क्या मतलब हुआ?
जब से आई स्टार्टेड स्ट्रीमिंग विद समय, one of the things that we did well was to kind of make chess interesting. He has this sense of humor which is very in the moment, like he is able to come up with very witty remarks.
हाँ.
So it takes me by surprise. So I get surprised very often, and he tries to lay traps on me, like I don't swear, so
Okay.
he will make the chat send super chats की थोड़ा ऐसे दो word को join कर दिया तो गाली बन जाता है. But if you read the word just like that, then you don't get to know. Now I've become very expert at that, क्योंकि 2 साल हो गए, but at start I used to fall for it.
तो आप ऐसे मतलब साला वाला भी नहीं बोलते?
साला वगैरह बोलता हूँ, but ऐसे मतलब स्ट्रीम पे क्या होता है कि व्हेन आई स्ट्रीम ऑन ChessBase इंडिया, जो हमारा चैनल है, a lot of people from all across India world follow and a lot of young kids follow it. So I try to be as clean as possible. ऐसा नहीं है कि you will find a lot of things on internet, like Samay has created this thing that if you type Sagar Shah you will find spoiled Sagar Shah, dirty Sagar Shah.
हाँ. मैं मेरे व्यूअर्स में हमारे जो पेट्रन्स है जिसके से बात कर रहा था कि एपिसोड करने वाला हूँ, तो उन्होंने मेरे को वीडियो देखा, वैभव एक स्टोनर सागर शाह वीडियो है वो देख लो. मैंने कहा अच्छा.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली. इफ समवन डजंट नो मी एट ऑल, he would think that मैं क्या ही आदमी हूँ वैसे.
नहीं नहीं, वो मेरे को पता है, आपकी बहुत रिस्पेक्ट है. और वो आपका टीचर्स डे वाला वीडियो देख रहा था जो समय के चैनल पे, मेरे को तो बहुत ही इमोशनल सा लगा यार. काफी अच्छा वो वीडियो था.
सही वीडियो है.
इनफैक्ट जब समय के साथ मैंने एपिसोड किया था, उन्होंने टी शर्ट भी पहनी हुई थी जिसपे आपका नाम था. वो क्या मर्चेंडाइज है?
सागर शाह प्राउड स्टूडेंट करके. So he had made that. So the entire thing is that chess, like I'm a chess player. I've played chess all my life, and I'm not like one of the best in India as such. I reached number 30 in India, and then we started a chess ka company called ChessBase India with an aim to popularize chess. And we've been working very hard since 2016. Me and my wife, we both Amruta, we started it together. And I think the lockdown, which was a very tough period for everyone, proved to be a blessing for chess. Kyunki somehow everyone was at home, and then a lot of people got attracted to it. A lot of stand-up comedians spent a lot of time of theirs. Jaise Samay, he was like the pioneer there. Then Biswa, Vaibhav, Nirban, and all of them, they got into it. So chess viewership, the chess audience, they grew a lot. And I think what I tried to do maximally was become a bridge between the chess community and the new community which was trying to come in, so as to educate them, tell them about कि क्या chess में क्या क्या कौन अच्छे players हैं and so on. So in that way my role was to teach, and also people like that aspect, and some people call me like a teacher and so on.
हाँ मैं देख रहा हूँ यार, क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा रिस्पेक्ट है आपकी ऑनलाइन कम्युनिटी में. नहीं है
मतलब ऐसा नहीं है, पता नहीं, like I feel that respect is something which is very difficult to measure. If you do something good, people will respect you. The moment you do something that they do not like, that will be gone. So it's not like this is a sustained sort of a respect or something.
तो चलो अब हम बात करते हैं कुछ ऐसी चीजों की जो हम चलचित्र पे करते हैं, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया कि आई थिंक जो आपने चेस के लिए इंडिया में किया है, हम वो आर्ट्स में और रिकमेंडेशंस में इंडिया में करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। हमारा सिंपल सा फंडा ये है कि इस वाले फॉर्मेट में हम लोगों की जो लाइफ स्टोरी है उसके बारे में बात करते हैं, बट हम उससे ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड है क्योंकि आपको एक इंसान के बारे में बहुत पता चल सकता है अगर आप ये देखो कि वो क्या पढ़ते हैं, क्या देखते हैं, एंड उनको क्या पसंद है खाने में, उनको ट्रैवल कहाँ करना पसंद है। तो वही फॉर्मेट है आज की हमारी कन्वर्सेशन का। एंड बहुत सारी रिकमेंडेशंस लेने वाले हैं हम, एंड हम स्टार्ट करेंगे किताबों से। तो पहले आप हमें बताइए आपका किताबों के साथ क्या रिश्ता है।
किताब आई थिंक इज माई लाइफ राइट नाउ. There was a phase when when I was very young and my father used to give me these books like Famous Five, Secret Seven and all of that. मैं वो पढ़ता था, but chess became such an obsession for me since I was like around 12-13 years old. Till 22-23 I have read like hundreds of chess books and people are always surprised कि chess में इतना literature कैसे है. But the thing is, the game is supremely complex on 64 squares and there are different strategies, different openings, tactics and everything. So I used to read a lot of that and I became very knowledgeable in chess with different things. So that is why even now when I do commentary or when I teach, all of that reading helped me a lot. However, the way I read chess books was more like कि मैं पढ़ता था and I wanted to apply it in my games.
Right.
मैं जो भी पढ़ता था I wanted to apply it and soon it started to happen that if something was not written in the book, जैसे गेम में कोई अलग मूव कर लेता है, I used to get a bit sort of shaken up कि मैं सोचता था यार ये तो बुक में था नहीं, अब मैं क्या करूं ऐसे करके। वो रहता है ना अपन एग्जाम में पढ़ के जाते हैं और कुछ
सिलेबस के बाहर कहा जाता है।
हाँ एग्जैक्टली ऐसा होता था। I realized that was a thing in chess which stopped me. So when I started my entrepreneurial journey, in the first few years it was all about going with the flow कि अगर कुछ हो रहा है तो शुरू करते हैं, let's do it, ये करना है, we have to build a team, we have to sort of grow our reach, our revenue, everything, all of these things were on the flow. I had no idea on how to do things. I was just flowing from a vision that we had कि chess को सबसे popular बनाना है इंडिया में and all of that. But then came a period where I realized कि I was reading one book and I got to know about a concept. This was about psychology and I thought कि ये तो मुझे पता ही नहीं था. Like no one had told me about this since childhood. And when I started to inculcate that within me, I saw a change in my life. And this is when I realized कि books have the power to change the way you think.
Wow.
Completely. Because if you don't know something, how will either you have to meet someone who tells you this, or you have to read something about it, or you have to watch something, jo bhi. Right. So that's where my thing about books changed from books being something where I read from cover to cover and tried to apply it to just getting anything that I could from the book and improving my understanding of life. So it's you can think of it like, let's say if you're making a soup, then I'm just trying to collect the best ingredients first. I'm not worrying about how I will make the soup, but I want the best of ingredients, fresh and so on. So जिस तरह से when I get a book, let's say about leadership or about entrepreneurship or self-help या जो भी books है, I will just go through it without thinking कि मैं ये कैसे अप्लाई करूंगा।
कोई एक इंटरव्यू सीरीज बहुत पसंद है, गुफ्तगू इरफान सर है, राज्यसभा टीवी पे एक शो आता था, उस पे जावेद अख्तर सर का एक उस पे इंटरव्यू है, उस पे भी उन्होंने ऐसी एक बात बोली थी कि अगर आप किताबें इसलिए पढ़ रहे हो कि शाम को जाके पार्टी में कूल लगेंगे तो मत पढ़ो, क्योंकि बहुत लोग इसलिए पढ़ते हैं, राइट। एंड देन एक ऐसी मैंने इंटरव्यू देखा था, आपको इनसिग्निफिकेंट तरीके से पढ़ना पड़ता है कि आप बस पढ़ने के लिए पढ़ रहे हो कि मतलब ये नहीं कि मैं यहाँ बोलूंगा तो कूल लगूंगा, स्ट्रीम में बोलूंगा तो, एंड दैट इज आई थिंक द beauty of reading, and that is I think what everyone should aspire for.
If you are reading it for a specific reason, then when two concepts sort of clash each other, you get uncomfortable,
right?
And for me that has not been the thing. If one book tells me ki you have to do this, like be sort of very determined, habits are very important, and then the other book says you need to be flexible, you need to think again. There's this book called Think Again, jisme it says everything that you have thought about, try to reassess it, be flexible. Flexibility is basically a power, while habit says you need to sort of there are books on habits, like you need to sort of go in a flow, go into a rhythm, and both of these concepts sort of clash. And many people have a very uncomfortable feeling because when they read something and when they try to apply it in their life, they feel like in order to apply it, I have to really take everything from the book and apply it. That's why when something new concept comes, they are closed to change. क्योंकि मैंने इतना मेहनत से ये वाला चीज ऑलरेडी लाइफ में लाया है, तो अब दूसरा वाला नया आ रहा है, तो मैं कहाँ से उसको make that a part of life. But I think that's where I feel like the more weapons you sort of gain from the books, the stronger your arsenal becomes.
Very
and
nice.
at the right time you can utilize the right weapon.
वेरी नाइस. मेरे को ऐसा भी लग रहा है कि आप ऐसा भी ट्राई करते होगे, मतलब करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, कि अगर मान लो आप किसी भी टाइम पे चेस के बारे में एक किताब पढ़ रहे हो, then do you also try to read one book which is completely not related to chess?
I think recently I've stopped reading chess books because I read so much, and now so much of my time is going into sort of improving myself, like as a person and entrepreneurship. So these are the two categories of books which I love a lot: self-help books and entrepreneurship.
यार आप मेरे को एक वर्चुअल हाईफाई दे दो, क्योंकि लोग हेट करते हैं सेल्फ हेल्प टर्म को ही, और मैं इतना डिफेंड करता हूँ यार कि तुम फिर गलत सेल्फ हेल्प पढ़ रहे हो. लोग बहुत मजाक उड़ाते हैं कि अरे तू तो सेल्फ हेल्प पढ़ता है. ये मेरे को बड़ा एक दुनिया में दिक्कत लगती है.
I think they are also correct in their own sense. Like I know even Samay, who was on your show, he's one of those persons who always argues with me कि self help पढ़ के क्या करोगे, it sort of kills your creativity. And from that perspective I do agree, but again it comes to that point whereby I'm not reading these books to apply it point to point. I'm just trying to improve my ingredients, that this example which I said कि मुझे
weaponry strong कर रहे हो.
Exactly. I want all these tools, and what if there are certain tools which I was never aware of. So in that sense एक book अगर मैं लेता हूँ तो पूरा I don't try to finish that book completely or anything of that sort. If I like it I will, but if I don't enjoy it, or if I'm not, then whatever I gain from it, I'll make some notes about it and I'll move on to the next book. It's not like I want to finish all the books that are out there.
Nice. आप हमें और हमारी ऑडियंस को एक बार वो पॉइंट करके आपकी बुक शेल्फ दिखा सकते हैं?
This bookshelf is something which is I don't know if you can see it well.
Yeah, I can very well. Yeah, nice.
And there are नीचे सारे chess के books है.
हाँ.
And ऊपर I think these are, I had tried to put it in like self-help and entrepreneurship and ऊपर सारे autobiographies and biographies ऐसे करके. But at some point I take out so many books and then I forget to put it back in the right place.
Got it. Give us some entrepreneurial book recommendations.
If I have to say, the first book which made a huge impact on me, which I studied way before I got into this habit of reading a lot of books, is this one. It's called It Does Not Have to Be Crazy at Work.
Cover कितना amazing है इसका.
It is written by Jason Fried. बेस कैंप करके उनका एक प्रोडक्ट है, उन्होंने बनाया था. So what happened was that whatever I was doing, they sort of said it's not correct what you are doing, which is like I was working all throughout like day. I was not delegating well. I was thinking that the people who work with me, I kind of own them, like in my company, कि अगर वो कुछ और कर रहे हैं तो मुझे ऐसे बुरा लगता था, or something like this. And all of these myths got sort of busted by reading these books. Not myths, but my sort of beliefs. If I do something, what sort of an example it sets for the company, and all of those, like for the employees that are there. ऐसे बहुत सारे चीजें इसमें दिए हैं which sort of made me better as a person.
Wow.
Gave me more time in the day. I could organize it better and so on. I won't go in any order, but this one I like a lot. It's called No Rules Rules. It is by the founder of Netflix, co-founder of Netflix, and he has given very good suggestions on how you can make your company filled with people of high talent pool. एक बार तुमने अगर हाई टैलेंट पूल के पीपल को हायर किया, देन उसके बाद व्हाट आर द नेक्स्ट स्टेप्स यू हैव टू डू. यू हैव टू गिव देम फ्रीडम, टेक अवे दोस थिंग्स. छोटी छोटी चीजें रहती है, जैसे अगर किधर कोई किसी को तुमने भेजा ऑन सम वर्क प्रोजेक्ट, then you know what budget should you keep, how much money can they spend, and all of these questions happen in day to day life of an entrepreneur, but no one talks about it so well. He says open up the books of the company to the employees and so on, and remove vacation policy, say what you really think. So the candor जो होना चाहिए एक कंपनी में कि जिसको जो लगता है वो बोल सकता है. A lot of this I tried to learn from here. This book has been spoken a lot, and it also helped me a lot. It's called Atomic Habits. It's about making tiny changes. And this is one book which I tried to implement directly. So it used to say that find anything that you are doing and bring about small changes in that. So I stream every day on ChessBase India. I'm commentating generally on chess games.
Every day?
Almost every day I do streaming. So even today at 6:30 I have a stream. जब भी कोई Indian player खेलता रहता है, either I do commentary or I teach something about chess. What happened was my streams used to have like they were not very professionally done, and मैं सिर्फ पूरा energy से करता था. So I used to think कि कितना change करूंगा मैं. You know, like when I saw professional stream, they had a great camera, they had great layouts, they had those little widgets in their stream, and everything like super chat आएगा तो ऐसे ये होता था वगैरह. And so this book actually inspired me to take one thing at a time. So then one day I added a YouTube count meter. दूसरे दिन पे I tried to improve my camera a bit. Third day I said कि मैं time पे आऊंगा. You know, I don't start on a little late ऐसे. तो ऐसे करके I made these changes, and I find this book to be very useful in that sense. Okay, this is very interesting, and I think it will be really helpful for. आपकी शादी हुई है?
नहीं.
फिर आपको शायद अभी नहीं, but later on for sure. And this is something which I realized after reading this. ये है 7 principles for making marriage work. And exactly this is the kind of reaction I get from people. Like when I showed it to my parents itself, they started laughing at me. And you know, I was trying to think, why do people laugh? I think what happens is that people think जो relationships है ना, उसको you don't need to sort of analyze, or you don't need to. And if you see people in marriages, they are often not very happy with each other. Then they think to themselves कि it is the problem is with the partner or something of that sort. But there are some very basic issues that couples have. Like जैसे अगर आप school नहीं जाओगे, or if you don't study certain things when you are young, you won't be able to learn those things.
बिल्कुल सही बात.
So same thing marriage के लिए, no one teaches anything to us when two people live together. I don't think all the principles work for everyone, but there are at least couple of them. Like बहुत सही बताया था कि you know, how does romance develop in couples? Like in movies you repeatedly go and they show कि you know ऐसे उसको song उसने dance किया, या उसने कुछ तो एक बड़ा surprise किया, and that is how romance. And then they show next scene as they both are kissing and they both are in love and so on. But in real life it's more like कि तुमने कचरे की जो डिब्बा है उसको बाहर रखा, तुमने घर को क्लीन किया, तुमने जो, and then the love between partners grow. And this is never shown. So let's say if you are a person who wants to improve your marriage, and if you are watching a Bollywood movie or just movies in general, how are you going to learn about these little things?
इस पे मैं एक दो चीजें ऐड करना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि मेरी शादी नहीं हुई है पर मैं रिलेशनशिप्स में बहुत इन्वेस्टेड हूँ कि बेटर कैसे करते हैं। मैंने बहुत टाइम स्पेंड किया है। तो जैसे मैंने सुहानी के साथ उनके चैनल पे एक स्ट्रीम किया था, मैंने उनको एक इंस्टा हैंडल बताया था। एक इंस्टा हैंडल है योर डायग्नोसेंस। एक थेरेपिस्ट है जो वहाँ पे कम्युनिकेशन और लाइक रिलेशनशिप से रिलेटेड बहुत चीजें डालते हैं कि हाउ टू कम्युनिकेट इन अ रिलेशनशिप। घोस्ट, अगर आप घोस्ट करने का सोच रहे हो तो दीज आर द थिंग्स यू कैन डू। सो ये चीज है ना। और जो आपने बात बोली कि हम इसके तो कभी स्कूल तो गए ही नहीं है, तो वही है कि कहीं से सीखा नहीं है। वही जो थोड़ा बहुत शाहरुख देख लिया है और थोड़ा हॉलीवुड देख लिया, वहीं से हमारे फंड है और वो फंडे बहुत हिले हुए हैं। एंड यहाँ पे मैं भी आपको एक किताब रेकमेंड करूंगा जो मेरे फिलॉसफी में जो सबसे बड़े ऐसे जिनको मैं गुरु मानता हूँ, उनका एक यूट्यूब चैनल भी शायद आपको बताओ। एक यूट्यूब चैनल है स्कूल ऑफ लाइफ। उन्होंने एक किताब लिखी है जिसका नाम है द स्कूल ऑफ लाइफ। उसमें 5 पार्ट्स हैं, रिलेशनशिप्स, वर्क, कल्चर, पास्ट और ऐसे करके। तो उसमें आपके चाइल्डहुड वुंड से लेके रिलेशनशिप्स कैसे वर्क करते हैं, अफेयर क्यों होते हैं। और ये हम ना चलचित्र टॉक्स पे हर महीने एक किताब डिसाइड करते हैं। मेरी को फाउंडर है वानी, उनकी एक सीरीज है बुक का मंथ। तो इस महीने की हमारी किताब स्कूल ऑफ लाइफ है। तो हमारा पूरा चैनल, अभी 1 लाख लोग, हम सारे लाइक जितने भी लोग पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, हम सब स्कूल ऑफ लाइफ पढ़ रहे हैं। आपको बिल्कुल जो आप कह रहे हो 7 प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ मेकिंग अ मैरिज वर्क वाले जोन की है ये, कि कैसे रिलेशनशिप ले कर सकते हो। एक उसमें चैप्टर सिर्फ आर्ग्यूमेंट्स के बारे में, 10 टाइप की आर्ग्यूमेंट होती है। जैसे एक आर्ग्यूमेंट होती है लॉजिकल आर्ग्यूमेंट, या बहुत लॉजिक देने लग गए, नहीं मैंने तो ऐसा किया था, ऐसा नहीं होता, कि वो क्यों नहीं वर्क करती। आप पढ़ोगे ना, आपको बहुत पसंद आएगा। मैं भी आपको ऐसे बीच बीच में मेरी रिकमेंडेशन देता रहूंगा।
I would love, because I think whatever you will recommend, I'll definitely go and get them, because as I said कि अगर कुछ भी एक नया कुछ चीज सीखने मिलेगा तो I'm always very happy.
पर ये आप नॉन मैरिड लोगों को भी रेकमेंड करोगे, आई एम अज्यूमिंग।
This 7 principles I would recommend to people who are into relationships and who want to get ready for their married life. I think it's really very nice.
Nice.
Next one, which made a big impact on me, was 7 habits of highly effective people. ऐसे मैं जब ये बुक लिया, a lot of people had spoken about it. I used to listen कि मेरा भाई जो MBA कर रहा था, he was recommended this in his college. Maybe you have heard of it. It's by Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
And so I thought कि क्या ही रहेगा 7 habits. There must be something like time management, then cleanliness रखो या determination रखो, all these normal. But when I got this book, I realized that these are amazing principles here. And you know, there are what I do generally while reading these books is that I make notes on the side of the pages. जैसे यहाँ पे I write down here.
Wow.
Because for me it's like whenever I open the book again, I want to read that part, and it just gives me everything that I had read before by reading those 2 lines. So one of the things that I learned from this book was how you can have a win-win kind of a mentality in business. So जैसे आप कहीं पे भी जाते हो, तो you are always thinking how things should be good for you, correct? But you are not always thinking about the win situation for your other person when you are trying to negotiate.
Wow.
And so he gives these different scenarios like win-win, win-lose, win lose-lose भी होता है, या very common generally is win-lose scenarios where you go to a negotiating table and you want to win and the other person will lose, ऐसे. So it changed the way I started talking to people with whom I was doing business. Because I started thinking what value can I add to them rather than just thinking what they will give to me. This one I got very recently. It's called Sprint. कि कोई भी idea अगर आपको implement करना है, which are quite big in nature, how to start it on a Monday and get it implemented by Friday. Anything as big as, and he gives many examples कि Monday को, and the thing is you have to stop everything else in your life. So I really like this book. I like books like these which are entrepreneurial plus sort of life story. So ये Starbucks के owner का है, Howard Schultz करके. This, and along with this there is this called Shoe Dog करके.
अरे Shoe Dog वो भी हमारी बुक का मन थी. I love Shoe Dog.
Phil Knight करके. So what they show is that business need not be what seems like a huge business now has the same problem that we have when it's small. Like मैं जब सोचता था कि मेरा ChessBase India है, it's such a like it's not huge right now as a terms of turnover and everything. And when you look at Starbucks or when you look at Nike, these are like millions of dollars. But the problems that they face are very similar. For example, Starbucks at some point started losing its soul. And the problem was so simple that when people, they started diversifying their products. There's a coffee hai, that was their main. So they would put in a lot of effort to import the beans. They would make sure that it is environmentally friendly when it is grown and all of that. Itna wo log dhyan rakhte the to get the beans. So their coffee is tremendous quality wise. But they started having add-ons. जब आप Starbucks जाते हो आपको अभी सैंडविच भी मिलता है, अभी आपको ये भी. So then what happened was that उनका जो अरोमा है उनके शॉप में, it started to reduce because of these other things. So when you enter Starbucks, they want to give you an experience which is not just about drinking coffee, but just the smell, the very fact that when you enter, you feel you are in a different zone. And that started to go down because of these other things. So this guy started to get to the bottom of why Starbucks was dying and revived it from there.
Wow.
And I can't imagine like all these little things to do it at a scale at which Starbucks is. Like, they have outlets all across the world. So even shutting down Starbucks for a few hours across the world would lead to like such a big loss, like millions of dollars they would lose in revenue. Amruta and I read this together, which was Courage to be Disliked. It's about a philosopher and a youngster who both indulge in a conversation about philosophical things in life.
Wow.
And I think this is a very good book. I have this one book which was very old that I had read, which is called The Habit of Winning karke. It has stories. And one of the stories which has become a big part of me in this was about Michael Phelps, who is an Olympic swimmer and, he's won so many medals. He was preparing for Olympic Games and he was swimming and he met with an accident somewhere out. And it so happened that his hands, he couldn't move for some period because it was fractured. So what would a normal person like us do in such a situation? We would take rest. But what Phelps did was, he said कि मेरा हाथ नहीं चल रहा है ना, so what I'll do is I'll go in the pool, which is not like full with water, like till the lower level, and I will work on my legs. So he just made use of his legs and made his leg muscle stronger. And when his hand got okay, he did normal training, and when he actually went to play the Olympics, that last second when he won the gold, it showed that his leg jo usne push kiya, that led to the difference in the win at the end. That 1 second, which was the difference, 1 millisecond. And this is where I realized that if something is not going right for you, figure out the thing which is going right inside it. Like let's say अगर आपका लैपटॉप बिगड़ गया है आज, तो ये देख लो कि कौन सी चीज चल रही है एंड उस पे वर्क करो, क्योंकि जब लैपटॉप आ जाएगा तब तो आपको उतना टाइम नहीं मिलेगा उस चीज पे वर्क करने के लिए. Again, as I said, like this book was meant for like sports or something, but I found it very useful for many different things.
पर ये क्या खतरनाक लाइन बोल दी आपने. मतलब ऐसा अभी लिखी बैठ के कि if things are not going right, figure out that one thing which is going right and one of the things which is working. कितनी ऐसे सोचने वाली लाइन है ये.
I think it's very useful. This is one thing which I'm not able to implement, although I would love to implement this, and I'm in awe of people who are able to do it. Like Amruta is one of them. It's called essentialism. So इसमें जैसा है कि ये आपकी एनर्जी लेवल है और अगर आप 10 चीजें कर रहे हो तो सारी ऐसे स्कैटर हो रही है सब जगह. While if you use it in one, it goes like you can go the distance. So if there's something which is important for you, how can you block all other distractions and focus on one thing? It's tremendously difficult for an entrepreneur, but I think I want to reach that stage. I figure out what is important for me and just work on it very, very focused way, because that brings about huge change and it also sort of warms your soul. जब आप कोई काम करते हो 100% focus के साथ, जो चीज इंपॉर्टेंट होती है उस पे. I talked about this Adam Grant का Think Again. which says that essentially everything you do, try to think again. For example, there are people who are in chess. There is this concept called pattern recognition. And pattern recognition मतलब अगर आप देखते हो ये बिशप यहाँ पे है, ये डायगोनल पे, ये पॉन यहाँ पे है, तो I can use this bishop and pawn moving forward to combine into two. This is a pattern which you have built by watching some games and so on. What happens is when you know a lot of patterns, you are able to play quickly and you are able to जो plans आपको सोचने, जैसे मैं आपके सामने एक चेस बोर्ड रखूंगा अगर, तो आप कंफ्यूज हो जाओगे कि मैं क्या करूं. बट एक मास्टर है, उसने इतने सारे पैटर्न्स देखे हैं कि he will become very good at it.
Wow.
So you will feel like pattern recognition is a power that it needs to be developed even in life, in decision making. However, it comes with its own downside. Once you are in the field of recognizing patterns, the problem is your brain doesn't work hard to find creative solutions. ये तो मैंने देखा है ये pattern, so I will play this way. But there could be another move which needs to think of that position with a fresh eye. The problem is not that we can't think with fresh eye, but the problem is there's already a solution which exists, which is good enough. So that is where he says, think again. Always try to think again, try to, whatever you are doing, look at like maybe, and I have this thing which I discussed with Amruta, that if you're playing a video game, you have two views. One is that you have this view where you can't see yourself, you're seeing ahead. तो आप लेफ्ट देखते हो, राइट देखते हो, किधर से कोई अपने को मारने आ रहा है, you have a gun in hand, you can shoot those people. So you think you are doing the best thing in that situation because you are inside that map where you have to kill people. But imagine that वो map में होना ही नहीं है आपको. You need that top view. कि मैं ये यहाँ पे क्यों? मैं क्यों यहाँ पे जाके कर रहा हूँ? Maybe I should go to the other map, which is better.
Nice.
So that thing we can't do often because we are so inside that zone. Again, same author. Give and Take, very nice book. It's about like people say कि who are the people who are successful in life, givers or takers, and in between the two there's a matcher. कि भाई आपने मेरे लिए ये किया, मैं आपके पॉडकास्ट पे आया, आप भी मेरे पॉडकास्ट पे आओ, ठीक है, it's a matcher. Then a giver is someone who says मैं देता हूँ आपको, ठीक है, I'll give you. A taker is always who will take things from you. So what kind of a person should you be? And for me personally, I feel like I'm a giver, like I like to give people. But he speaks about giving without the intention of ever thinking कि how you're going to get back. And you know, we know हमको पता है वो नेकी करो और दरिया में डालो और you know these things. But he gives very good examples of how people in very unknown ways, just by being givers, have got it back in way more than what they could have ever done. And I think it's true. When you give, you should not think about how it's going to come back to you. There is just no way you know it. कि कैसे वापस आएगा. Being a chess player, I should definitely talk about this book. Anand ka book hai. It's he's 5-time world champion of India. It's a very nice book where he talks about his life.
Autobiography, yeah?
It's an autobiography.
Nice.
Of Vishwanathan Anand. So I really liked it. There is one book of Gary Kasparov who was a world champion before Anand, and he talks about how life imitates chess. कि मतलब there are certain things on the chessboard which look trivial, but वही चीज कैसे आपको life में भी help कर सकती है. So very good book here as well. I think this book really impacted me a lot because his story somehow I find is very similar to mine. He went to Japan. He got the rights from this Onitsuka brand to sell the shoes. Then he came to US, he started selling. Then at some point Onitsuka came and said, nahi, ab aap nahi bech sakte, I've given the rights to someone else. And he feels so cheated. And then he says, ki, you know, I need to sort of build my own brand. And so a lot of things like beautifully written. And I feel like this is definitely something which, and because of this, it has simplified a few things in my life. When I go to buy shoes, I'm like, okay, I'll buy Nike shoes. क्योंकि मैं इससे So he got his thing which he wanted. Your Brain at Work is a very nice book. This is by David Rock. And it talks about, you know, how it gives situations. Like there's this one lady who's just got a job promotion. Now she's going to office. She has all the emails waiting for her. And some other work comes in. Then she's trying to manage all of that. and she's failing. Her kids are at school. She has to go and pick them up. Now, this is a normal scenario. What he does is he tries to sort of break down कि every time mind में क्या चल रहा है तुम्हारे, like what is the scientific things happening in your brain, why is this happening, why do you get distracted, why you get worried, why does this happen, and how you can sort of improve it. So I found this book to be excellent. There are many things which we think कि हम ठीक नहीं कर रहे हैं, but there some can be just the limitations of your brain. We need to try and avoid that. So this is very nice in that sense. Psychology of Money is a good book. I think a lot of people recommend it just as a if you want to know more about money. One of the things that I learned from here is that you are always thinking about how you can earn more. You hardly ever think of how you can save more. So जैसे आप अपने life में जितना भी कुछ देखोगे, you will see that you are spending here a lot. And maybe if you cut down on a few of those things, you can indirectly earn more, because whatever you will save, you will invest, and that will, give you returns. So a very nice, some nice advice here, which can be very useful. I think this one I really liked. It's called Digital Minimization, minimalism, how you can minimize your digital lifestyle. And after this, I started reducing my dependence on phone a lot, because I knew there are problems, but I just realized that how much of my abilities I'm underutilizing because of this.
Nice.
One book that completely changed my life is this one. It's called Lying by Sam Harris.
जो Waking Up वाले Sam Harris है?
Same. And he has many other books that he has written. But this book is something which I think on every page I've written something here. Wow. The main thing is that he says that lying is bad. It's basically that when you lie, you don't give an opportunity to other person to build a proper relationship with you. And this is where he talks about white lies. And white lies are just so common कि अगर समझो आज आपको कोई फोन करता है और आपको बोलता है कि hi, can you come? You will be like कि हाँ शायद मैं आज मैं busy हूँ or something, when you are actually doing something else. And I think it's very important not to do that as well.
True.
Like you be 100% truthful. It doesn't matter if the other person feels hurt or doesn't feel hurt. True. I think he says that you never know how you saying something is going to impact the others. तुम कभी-कभी दूसरों के feelings के लिए अच्छा करने के लिए तुम white lies बोलते हो.
True.
Like let's say someone gives you a gift and you don't like it. You say हाँ बढ़िया है. Then you never wear it. And then that person, but let's say if you say कि ये मुझे gift ठीक नहीं लगी, I won't be able to wear it. Can you give it to someone else? And this is where he says that it's not about being rude. It's about effectively communicating. And we can really sort of put in that gap if you can communicate effectively. कि हाँ ये, and this has happened with me after that some people have brought something and I have said that I won't be able to use it, so it will be wasted unnecessarily. So why don't you? I know you put in a lot of effort.
ऐसा मेरे से तो नहीं होगा ये.
But at the end of the day, I think you are just being honest with the person and you are respecting that person's efforts. This is a good book that startups, the fail-safe startup, given many examples of why a startup would fail. Everything looks great, but then it failed. For what reason? So he's given this sort of a diamond. There are 4 things which need to be proper when you are starting off a startup. There need to be investors, marketing, your founders, and as a 4 pillars. So you try to assess if all those 4 pillars are good or not. So it helps in understanding a startup better. Amruta and I both have this thing where we have started getting into like this. जैसे मैंने अभी आपको बोला था कि your brain at work. Same way, this is like habits of a happy brain, where there are these 4 hormones, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin and endorphin, कि ये सब कब रिलीज होते हैं, किस चीज के लिए होते हैं. So then you realize, जैसे अगर मैं हमेशा इवनिंग में जाता था ना वॉक पे, तो मुझे सूखा भेल खाने का बहुत मन होता था. Like I would just feel कि मुझे खाना है. It's just became a habit. Then I realized that it's nothing but when I'm eating, dopamine is getting released in my body and I'm feeling good. It's just this knowledge made me stop that habit. of eating there. I'm like, okay, fine, I will not eat it. I don't need that dopamine rush because I knew it is nothing actual benefit that I'm getting through it.
True.
So this was very useful. And last one is this one I read recently. It's called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And usme there's one chapter, it's called Deliberate Practice. And so a lot of people think that वो जो एक rule है ना 10,000 hour rule, which has become very popular, कि 10,000 घंटे आप कोई भी चीज पे काम करो, you'll get good at it. But she says that, you know, there is something known as deliberate practice, and deliberate practice has 4 things. First, you sort of think कि क्यों आपको ये practice करना है. Then when you do that practice, you figure out कि तुमने you set a goal for that practice. फिर तुम वो नहीं achieve कर सकते हो, तो तुमने क्या गलत किया और फिर उसे फिक्स करो. This is deliberate practice. Like chess में ले लो, या if you are a writer or if you are a, whatever you in your profession you are, it's way tougher than just practicing. And if you see any athletes who are at the top of their game, they can practice only for 4 to 5 hours of deliberate practice. It's so tiring. You're all the time thinking about how I can improve. ये मैंने गलत किया, ये कैसे improve कर सकता हूँ. While normal practice is like just कर रहे हो, आपको अच्छा लग रहा है, आप भाग रहे हो, या आप chess practice कर रहे हो. So this difference between normal practice and deliberate practice, I learned from this book.
इस पे मैंने आज ही एक ट्वीट देखा था नवल रविकांत का कि it's not 10,000 hours, it's 10,000 iterations. मेरे को काफी अच्छा लगा ये ट्वीट. हाँ,
हो सकता है 10,000 hours of deliberate practice.
Yeah.
If I knew this before, then maybe I would have saved a lot of time in my chess career, when I used to just sit down and practice for hours with music on, or you know, just having fun. I enjoyed it a lot, but it didn't lead to that improvement which I wanted.
True. So बहुत शानदार हमारा books का segment हुआ. And I got some amazing recommendations. मैंने भी काफी सारे notes बनाए. अब यहाँ से आप कहाँ जाना चाहेंगे?
I think this segment, there will be no other segment as big as this one, because clearly books dominate my life.
Now let's move to podcasts. Like, are you into podcasts?
Yes, I have one person who I've started to like a lot in podcasts recently. His name is Lex Friedman.
अरे सर मैं रोज जब खेलने जाता हूँ, गाड़ी चलाते हुए लेक्स फ्रीडमैन सुनता हूँ. अरे
बढ़िया. So I didn't know about him, but recently he had 3-4 chess players on his podcast.
Yes.
Magnus Carlsen,
Yes.
Levi Rosman, Hikaru Nakamura. So from there I got to know about him, and then I really liked this person because he's no nonsense. He even doesn't greet his guest कि भाई हाँ कैसे हो, क्या चल रहा है.
बहुत सही लगता है.
And I think it fits in with his character. I also love the fact how he says कि today, you know, if you like my content, there are sponsors, the links are in the description. बस इतना करके वो ऐसे नहीं कि मेरा एक sponsor है, आप उसके बारे में जानिए, आप ये करिए, वो सब, you know. So that class is there. I really liked it from that perspective, about the way he conducts himself. And apart from that, his preparation is very good for every podcast. And lastly, he is very intelligent in general. So he, even when things go out of what he has prepared, he can always engage.
इसका बेस्ट एग्जांपल है उसका कान्ये वेस्ट के साथ पॉडकास्ट जो है. अगर आपने नहीं देखा तो जरूर देखें. कान्ये वेस्ट वाले में एक टाइम पे इतनी हीटेड हो जाती है कन्वर्सेशन, एंड लेक्स को बहुत बुरा लग जाता है. कान्ये वेस्ट उनको कुछ कहते हैं और लेक्स बीच में बोलते हैं कि यार मेरे को अच्छी नहीं लगी जो आपने ये बात बोली, एंड स्टिल ही इज एबल टू डू द एपिसोड. मतलब ऐसे पर्सनली नहीं लिया, एपिसोड का स्टैंडर्ड नहीं गिरा. वो बहुत सही होता है ना कि उसने किसी भी मोमेंट पे कान्ये को जज नहीं किया, इवन व्हेन ही थॉट कि कान्ये की ये बातें सही है.
राइट. Yeah, I like that. I saw it, and he said that he doesn't trust him.
Yes.
And then he said कि ऐसे ही बात कर रहे कुछ और सब्जेक्ट, and he says let me come back to that topic where you said you don't trust me. No one has said that to me before, and like that.
कितनी ऑथेंटिक बात है. और लेक्स ने जैसे पूरी नेविगेट की वो कन्वर्सेशन, बहुत बड़ी बात है.
Apart from that, कभी-कभी यहाँ वहाँ I have listened to some of them, chess के podcasts and so on, but I haven't. I think Joe Rogan is good. I haven't seen many of him, but जैसे Joe Rogan with Naval Ravikant, या फिर कब बीच में I was really very much I wanted to know more about Elon Musk, so I had listened to them. So I think podcast for me is a way of knowing that person better rather than liking. Lex Friedman is the first person whom I have liked as a podcaster. I generally want to know, let's say if I want to know about you, then I will listen to some podcast you have done. But I'm not really attached to a podcaster as such.
Right.
And that's how this might be the first time I'm into podcasts now.
अब बात करते हैं मूवीज और शोज की. मूवीज एंड शोज के साथ आपका क्या रिश्ता है?
पता नहीं, मतलब I think movies have the power as like books. If suppose books can make you change in several hours, movies can impact you in like couple of hours. So I really want to see good things. Like पहले मैं कुछ भी देखता था, but now I want to make sure that whatever I consume is good. It's just like the food we eat. कि then I don't have. Firstly, I don't want to waste my time in watching something. Like पहले ऐसे कोई बोलता था ना कि ये टाइम पास मूवी है, अपना ब्रेन साइड में रख के जाके देख के आओ थिएटर में. Yeah, I used to do it, but now I can't bring myself to watch those movies which are just ऐसे time pass comedy or something like that. So I really like movies which are sensible, which are good. Like Bollywood में अगर देखेंगे तो like Amruta, and I like जब we met, then Three Idiots, ये जो सारे classics है. Then in Hollywood also we have seen like we see a lot of movies. I can't really recollect exactly which movies I have loved, but we have seen like so many of them. And from there we have come to this ki we don't want to get into watching some kind of movies.
And how about TV shows, TV series?
Big Bang Theory is one of our favorite. Very very much like how Sheldon's acting is, and उसमें बहुत मजा आता है, हम बहुत हंसते हैं. Then Game of Thrones we have seen. We liked that till a point. It was very nice, very engaging.
House of Dragon देखा आपने?
अभी देख रहे थे हम. First season या second तक we liked, and it became kind of, it started dragging.
नहीं अच्छा है, पूरा अच्छा है. हाँ देखना, मतलब 10 एक ही सीजन है, 10 एपिसोड है. It's good.
I have seen Prison Break, which
अरे
I like.
Prison Break was the first show जिससे मैं घुसा था इस पूरे वर्ल्ड में. मैं 10th स्टैंडर्ड में था, मेरे भाई ने मेरे को कहा कि ये शो देख. अरे और प्रिजन ब्रेक का सीजन 1 तो अभी भी होल्ड करता है, मतलब इतना ज्यादा. सीजन 1 तो अलग है यार.
Season 1 is very nice. It's excellent. I think there is this House of Cards.
Yes, House of Cards
that we have seen. I think we have seen everything. So that's where I'm saying that consumption of information we love to do, and the moment we dislike something we end it very quickly. So it's not like we try to drag it.
बहुत सही है.
In that sense, books भी हो गया या series भी हो गया या movie. If we have now with Netflix and all, you start it, you dislike it, you can discontinue it at that.
Got it. आपकी फेवरेट मोबाइल एप्स कौन सी हैं जो प्रोडक्टिविटी में या नोट मेकिंग में या अदरवाइज जो आपको हेल्प करते हैं?
मुझे नोटबुक बहुत पसंद है नोट मेकिंग के लिए.
Nice.
I hardly ever go back. I use Google Keep, but I am unable to go back to it often because I've gone through this, as I said, digital minimalization, where मेरे को पसंद नहीं है to use my phone for productivity often, क्योंकि I get distracted very easily if I go there. So the social media apps that I use are Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, but it's for the work that we do, ChessBase India ka. And I use it heavily because every day, if you check ChessBase India, there are at least 10 to 12 updates on each platform.
Wow.
That we do related to chess. कौन अच्छा खेल रहा है, कौन क्या हो रहा है. I edit videos, I put it. So I am putting out so much information out there कि मैं जब भी कुछ अपलोड करने जाता हूँ, something comes in front of me, I have to make sure that I don't get distracted from actually doing my work.
Any habits जो आपको help की हो in regard to like staying focused, या कोई ऐसी छोटी छोटी चीजें होती हैं जिन्होंने आपको discipline में help की हो?
नहीं, मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि when I exercise, it improves my productivity a lot. It also makes me feel better. So this is definitely something that I would recommend everyone कि exercise, don't exercise from the perspective कि आपको fit होना है just physically, but also from every aspect it helps a lot. you just feel good about yourself.
Very
So
nice.
I want to do that. Like I stay on 11th floor, so I try to climb the stairs every time I come up,
Wow.
rather
Wow.
than using the lift. Apart from that, Joe, recently we went to this place called Atmantan, which is a wellness center in Pune ke paas hai wo. And there what happened was they do a sort of test, like they check your reports and all, and then they put you on some kind of a diet for 7 days. I was given a no carb diet wahan pe, and they used to give me this much to eat, like one bowl of something for lunch and dinner also. And I used to eat at least 10 times of that every day, like for lunch and dinner, like do chapati ho gaye, sabzi ho gayi, rice ho gaya, dal ho gaya, all of that I was eating. And there I was surviving on this much food, feeling much better, feeling more productive, feeling lighter, and in every way just better in my life. तो आई जस्ट रियलाइज दैट फूड जो हम अंदर डालते हैं बहुत बार सोचे बिना कि हाँ अब 12 बज गए तो लंच का टाइम हो गया है और ये टाइम हो गया, आई सॉर्ट ऑफ इट चेंज्ड माय कॉन्सेप्ट अबाउट फूड इन अ बिग वे कि मैं क्यों खाना खा रहा हूँ, लाइक व्हाट इज द रीजन व्हाई आई ईट फूड एट दिस टाइम एंड व्हाट इज दिस. सो नाउ food is much better, the intake is more balanced in that sense. When I'm stressed, I can't do it, I eat a lot. But when I'm in a good mind frame, I'm able to eat very properly, and I want to get to this even when I'm stressed at work. जैसे हम टूर्नामेंट में जाते हैं तो वहां पे I want to reduce what I'm eating and so on.
एंड लाइक ये जब आप इतना कम कम खा रहे थे, प्रोटीन इनटेक का कैसे वो हो रहा था? लाइक अगर
They
जैसे
were going, I think, high on protein, like paneer देते
हाँ
थे. I also am a vegetarian, so whatever were the possibilities there, they were trying to give those things. I again, I'm not a big expert at nutrition. I'm just trying to look at what my body is good at, which I feel good, and I'm trying to implement that.
वन ऑफ द थिंग्स जो मेरे को लगता है कि मैंने बहुत लेट किया था कि अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपका भी विटामिन लेवल्स क्या है बॉडी में, वो बहुत पता चलता है. आप लाइक बहुत लोग होते हैं ना कि आई जस्ट फील एग्जॉस्टेड द होल डे, तो एक बार B12 चेक कराओ, D चेक करवाओ, बहुत फर्क पड़ता है इससे.
I think it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing, and it's something which should not be taken lightly. I think B12 कम होने से people become senile. They just start behaving in ways in which you can't even recognize them.
Now, I want to come to a segment where I want to talk about your favorite creators / favorite YouTube channels.
There are many creators who are very amazing at different moods. For example, I think Samay as a creator is very favorite for me because he did chess. Also, his comedy is fun. I really like Suhani as well because she's into magic, and this is something that I really enjoy watching. Although I always keep on asking her how she did it, and she always, I know her response would be the same ki अरे क्या सागर शाह तेरे को क्या सब चाहिए ऐसे, and you know, so I know all of that, but I enjoy, like, the presentation is really great, the way she does it. Also, I enjoy this channel called Veritasium. It has a very good quality of work that is done by them. There's also one guy in Instagram whom I met recently at YouTube Educators Fest, where they had invited me. उनका नाम है Art Guy Rob करके.
अरे वो जो मैड वाले चैनल पे आते थे. हाँ हाँ.
So I was not aware of him because I had never seen his on Pogo or on. So for me, he was the first time I saw him there in front of me. So I also asked him, "Aap kaun ho?" Maybe it was surprising because I think everyone who I have met know him from his, because he was on TV and so on. तो उन्होंने जो Instagram पे the posts he makes, everything is done so tastefully. So I've seen that there are two kinds of creators. One who do things very tastefully, every little thing कि आप कौन सा cut लोगे, कौन सा shoot करोगे, and the other kind is like who just sort of do in quantum. I'm the quantum guy basically. I try to do more and more things and worry less about being very good at quality. That's just how I am. But I really admire those who have the patience to build up something for days and days.
मैं आपको इसका एक एग्जांपल दूं. सो जब तन्मय भट्ट मेरे चैनल पे आए थे ना, मैंने उनको एक ये एनालॉजी दी थी. मेरी एनालॉजी नहीं है, ये डेविड परेल एक ट्विटर पे है, उनकी है. इट्स अबाउट कि एज अ क्रिएटर आर यू अ मशीन गन और अ स्नाइपर राइफल. मशीन गन वो चल धक 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 एक चल जाएगा. स्नाइपर होते हैं कि एक निशाना मारेंगे महीनों में और वो फटेगा. सो आई हैड आस्क्ड तन्मय, आर यू अ मशीन गन और आर यू अ स्नाइपर? तो आप जैसे बता रहे हो, आप मशीन गन हो बेसिकली.
Yeah, I'm a huge machine gun because in a day I think I create multiple things, and also I have a lot of things to say in general. Like even now, I could have limited the number of books I had shown to, let's say, top five of mine, but I went and I showed like 30 books.
Right.
It's just how I am, because I think even though the quality of me explaining each book wasn't high, maybe the amount of things that I gave was quite a lot,
Right.
so that someone will get interested in something.
Very nice.
So maybe there'll come a phase when I'll shift from being a machine gun to a sniper in my life. But right now, this attracts me more. I like Tanmay overall. Whenever I see his content, the meme review and all, I end up laughing. So I enjoy that very much. Lex Friedman, जो मैंने आपको बताया था, जिनका podcasts I started listening to, and they are very long, so it takes away a lot of time. There is this vlogger Saurav Joshi. I started watching his vlogs from the perspective of how I can try to do vlogging myself, कि मैं कैसे improve कर सकता हूँ and all, but I couldn't achieve that. But what I love about him is his consistency, which is very underrated in general, because people think that you have to have some kind of special skills, or you have to be having some things which will help you attract an audience. But I think consistency is one of those very high skills that you need. For example, I think Gary Kasparov, जो मैंने आपको book बोला था, How Life Imitates Chess, he says that people always keep on comparing between hard workers and talented players in chess, कि जो मेहनत करते हैं और जो बहुत talented रहते हैं, जिनको आप कोई position दो, उनको move instantly दिखेगा कि ये best move है ऐसे. They are talented players. He says hard work is a talent. So the ability to work hard is a very underestimated talent. And I think in general, what we underestimate is consistency. Being able to put up a vlog every single day at 8 a.m. is not easy, and I think that I really appreciate that he is doing it.
मेरे को काफी सारी recommendations मिल गई यहाँ पे. कोई ऐसी चीज है, कोई travel recommendations, कोई food recommendations? सेव पूड़ी आपने शायद बताया. ये सेव भेल कौन सी?
I think food में तो पता नहीं. I don't have that much knowledge, but I love भेल. मतलब मेरा favorite है. But somehow my mother's bhel is still the best, I think.
Nice.
मैंने जहाँ पे भी खाया है. Amruta and I have traveled a lot for chess. We have gone to over 30 countries for chess. And I think our best experiences have always been when we have tried to save on money. Because you are very resourceful then, and you take nothing for granted. So earlier we didn't have an option because we didn't have those many financial resources. इसके लिए we used to use Airbnb. We used to use all sorts of public transports in all of the European countries that we went to, and we would use things like BlaBlaCar. उधर रहता है जो share car रहता है, and all of that. So we got great experiences because of that. We would make a budget saying that every day we'll take only 5 euros ka grocery, and we will try to cook our own food. And all of that we did when we were in Europe. And those were, I think, the most fun times. Now when we travel, we travel in a different way, because now we were traveling as players back then. Now we travel as journalists, or we try to go for tournament coverage. So here we try to make sure that our time becomes more important than money somehow now.
Wow.
So everywhere we can save time is where we are spending. So this is the shift which has happened in the last 3-4 years, where from saving money, we are now trying to save time. Everything in West Europe we have almost covered. Let's say from Germany to Spain, to
हाँ
Switzerland, uh, Italy.
सबसे
We have
ज्यादा कौन सा पसंद है आपको?
many, but I think Greece hai. It's very nice, and there are these islands which are away from the mainland Greece. Paliora करके हम गए थे एक जगह पे. So it was like a strait, and on two sides of the strait, one there is a sand beach, and on the other there is a stony beach. Like there are stones on the beach, and on the same, like you just walk like 2 minutes, and you go from one end to the other, and you have two completely different. Not two, maybe 10 minutes walk. So we like those places a lot where we traveled. We've been to Russia where it was minus 18 degrees at that point. So that we have experienced, and cold में एक अलग ही मजा रहता है. So that is something which we have done. Also, we've gone to Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, all these Southeast Asian countries. They are also very nice. The food there is very interesting. These are all having very interesting food. Yeah, I mean, we love to travel, but right now we have a vision in life, which is to sort of make chess very popular, to do things. And so that takes up all our time. We always have to measure कि अगर travel करना है, so will we be able to do what we want to do. So right now we are very motivated in that sense to achieve what we want to.
How lovely. So बहुत अच्छी recommendations मिली. मैं like before we wrap this, मैंने आज ही chess.com पे account बनाया था. Before our episode मैंने मेरी टीम के साथ खेला. मेरे को पता है मेरे को बहुत जल्दी रन होगा. एक क्विक मैच खेल सकते हो?
हाँ चलेगा, श्योर.
डन. अच्छा तो मैं ब्लैक हो गया. ओके.
हाँ, और नाम मेरा देखोगे तो इट इज सागर अंडरस्कोर राइना. दिस वाज वन ऑफ द challenges Samay had given, that if this happens you have to change your name to this, and it was quite embarrassing, but it still remained that only. I have not changed.
Got it.
So what you are doing is pretty good. Yeah, you're developing your pieces. That's the most important thing in the opening in chess, that you bring out all your pieces in the game.
I'm sorry.
आप कहाँ चेस सीखे थे?
मेरे बचपन में मेरे जो मामा थे, ही वॉज लाइक रियली इनटू चेस, तो उनके साथ मैंने खेला था. मेरे एक नेबर थे जो, मतलब मैंने 7th 8th 9th स्टैंडर्ड में लास्ट खेला था प्रॉपर्ली.
Should we do something spectacular?
हाँ जी.
ठीक है. Let's try it. ठीक है. We'll do this, and then this would be a very nice end to this entire.
Okay. क्या ये क्या आपने मेरे को बाजीगर वाली वो जीत दी थी.
No, but what a pretty mate. Did you see how it ended?
Yeah,
you used your one pawn.
ये जो प्रॉपर बाजीगर वाला वो जो मदन चोपड़ा को जब शाहरुख खान जीतने देता है. Amazing.
This is something that I learned from Samay actually. He used to do this often, where he would do some very tricky things on the chessboard, just so that people would get excited. And I never would do this with chess. Of course, I wouldn't do this ever in a serious game or something. But today it felt like this mate, just one pawn push, and it looks so beautiful. And I was like, okay, let's do it that way.
Oh, this is amazing. यार अब मैं जाके बोल सकता हूँ कि मैंने सागर शाह को हराया.
There's this one recent book that I got, and it actually summarizes you very well.
Wow.
So I think you know how to listen. You are a very good listener, and this is a superpower, I would say, because you are able to listen with a lot of interest. The person on the other end wants to share more, and which is actually helpful to your viewers. So when people think that when someone does a podcast, what are the skills that are needed for doing it, I think listening is right up there at the top. And I think you do it amazingly well. So you are able to get the best out of the people who come to your podcast.
You know something very funny, first of all, thank you. But like when you said this और आपने जब book दिखाई, for the first time in the whole podcast, मैं सुन नहीं रहा था और I'm like, मैं ये clip कहाँ use करूँ, किसको भेजूँ?
Of course, your girlfriend, and who will disagree with me, which is very likely.
Amazing. This was amazing. Like Sagar, like बहुत मजा आया. And जो भी चलचित्र के viewers देख रहे हैं, do subscribe to ChessBase India. And अगर आप भी अपने fans को अगर बोल सकते हैं to subscribe to Chalchitra Talks, हम अभी 99.5K पे हैं.
Oh, fantastic. I think personally, I have not seen all of Chalchitra Talks. I would love to explore this channel more.
Yeah.
But I think one thing which I have personally enjoyed a lot is this interaction with you. So I would definitely ask people to explore your channel more, where there are all these different, I'm sure you are asking many more people to give their recommendations. So it would be very nice to learn. I think from any video they could get something very
yeah. इनफैक्ट मैं आपको भी कुछ हमारे वीडियोस रेकमेंड कर देता हूँ इफ यू वांट टू स्टार्ट, क्योंकि आप बुक्स में बहुत इंटरेस्टेड हो. सो हमारा नसरुद्दीन शाह सर के साथ एक एपिसोड है, उनमें आप उनकी बुक रिकमेंडेशंस देखिएगा. एंड इनफैक्ट अगर आपने ब्रेकिंग बैड देखा हो तो ब्रेकिंग बैड के जो राइटर हैं पीटर गोल्ड, जिन्होंने बेटर कॉल सॉल बनाया, वो मेरे 100th एपिसोड में आए थे. एंड ही रिकमेंडेड मी लेक्स फ्रीडमैन. उनके साथ आपके फैंस और आप एपिसोड देख सकते हैं. सो एंड रत्ना पाठक शाह मैम भी आई थी, उनकी बुक रिकमेंडेशन. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द एपिसोड्स जहाँ से आप लाइक देख सकते हैं हमारा चैनल.
I enjoyed this, and I think I'll also check out more things
Please
that
do.
you guys do, and would love to stay in touch. So thank you, Vaibhav,
Definitely.